What's up, everybody? My name's Ty.
I'm Roman.
I'm Austin.
And we're the Cinema Squad. And today, in our first ever episode, we're going to take a little deep dive into our top 5 favorite movies of all time.
You want to go 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
Oh, we're definitely going 1 to 5.
1 to
Yeah,
5.
for sure.
100%.
Absolutely. Honestly, my top 5 was really hard to figure out, but I was just thinking, what are the things that have brought me like the most like memorable icon type things? Probably no surprise based off the room that you're looking at. My number 1 is Empire Strikes Back. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's my favorite Star Wars movie as well. The reason that one sits so high is because you have a movie that's coming off one of the most popular movies of all time. How do you top that? What they did was they separated the 3 main characters and they brought like all these major odds at them. The thing that sticks out to me the most is just, especially with Luke on Dagobah with Yoda and training, and he goes from this like farm boy who has no idea what he's doing in life to trained in the Force, and he's having to build his faith and just not only in himself but in just like this, how he's going to save his friends and all these things. And this is before he even found out Darth Vader was his father. Like that whole thing in Dagobah, Yoda saying do or do not, there is no try, and Luke saying I don't believe it, and Yoda saying that is why you fail. It's this idea of just faith. Where is your faith in, and what are you putting it in? And you obviously see Luke start to put his faith in something grander than just himself and what his abilities can do. And so like that's what makes the movie for me. You obviously have the Darth Vader fight at the end and the "No, I'm your father."
They didn't reveal the real line until they were on set. The original line that was in the script was Obi-Wan killed your father. In fact, I think the actor in Darth Vader said it on the set. And then they revealed it later. George Lucas pulled Mark Hamill aside later.
And told him that.
And told him the truth.
Which is such a crazy thing as an actor. Could you imagine just like the biggest cinematic reveal and you had no idea? Just the whole like epic chase away from Cloud City. Han gets put in carbonite.
Which was a big character development for him.
For sure.
That was like that was the sacrifice that he wouldn't have made in the previous movie.
My second one is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm sporting my indie hat for this video, but I think anything like at that time period when that Lucas made.
Yeah.
He was so far ahead of his time. Practical technology that was used and stuff. I mean, Harrison Ford's my favorite actor. He's such an iconic character. I mean, this guy, this is the man's man, and he's literally going to fight Nazis and trying to find these like grand archaeological like finds and biblical aspect of it too, just with the Ark of the Covenant. And the Nazis are messing with something they completely don't understand. I mean, at the end, like we all know that like he doesn't get the Ark. Like the Ark literally gets taken by the government. And people always complain that like, well, that's what was the reason of the movie if like he never like got it. But it's much grander. It's much grander than that. It's the journey of Indy. He starts believing in something beyond just like things. And he literally like fights the biggest evil that our history's probably ever known. That movie, it's just fun. It's a popcorn flick, but also has a lot of heart to it. The third in the top is The Dark Knight. It's probably my favorite superhero movie of all time. There's really no explanation there. Christopher Nolan's a great director. You got Heath Ledger as the Joker. Phenomenal performance on his part, and just so much in that movie that was just epic. And just the way Gotham turned against him at the end, and he rose up from the ashes and that kind of thing.
Opening scene was one of the best opening scenes.
That's the first scene that was ever shot on IMAX cameras.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The third one is The Prestige. I don't know, not a lot of people talk about this movie.
Okay,
but
that's my favorite Nolan movie. I'll say it right now.
It's probably my favorite Nolan movie. I mean, Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, phenomenal actors. It's a period piece.
I totally forgot Scarlett Johansson was in there.
Yeah, Scarlett was in it. But the thing that makes that into my movie is I remember watching that movie and the story's really good, the characters are really good, but that ending comes and it's just like, twist.
That's a movie that a lot of people missed. It came out at the same time as The Illusionist. With Edward Norton, which is also very good.
Similar movies. So my last one is Back to the Future. Music is really iconic to me. You got Huey Lewis and the News, which is one of my favorite bands. Marty McFly and Doc Brown. I mean, they're great characters. It's wacky. Time travel. I like old school stuff. So like them going back to the 50s, it's hard to pass up. It's one of the most classic movies of all time. So
I think it's no secret that Rocky would break my top 5. So Rocky 4 is probably my all-time favorite movie.
Okay.
Underdog, his best friend dies. Now you're avenging his honor. You're fighting this guy that's cheating. Obviously, like the U.S. and Russia was like a big deal, and so
Cold War.
This was like transcended. Just like this wasn't just a movie. Like this was more than just
a moment in time.
It was like a moment in time. Rocky goes to his home and trains
in the snow.
And when him and Adrian have this talk and she's like, I'm with you no matter what. He's training, but he's not training the way that he trains when Adrian's backing him. And then it was like when Adrian shows up, the music kicks in, Hearts on Fire. I get chills every time that song comes on and they keep going back and forth between Drago and Rocky. Like it literally just gives me chills every time I think about. Like I could watch that montage over and over again. Like you could ask me, Ty, do you want to watch Rocky? Yes.
You're making me want to put this at my top one.
You're making me want to fight somebody right now. Like.
Seeing him stick the needle in, like he's clearly taking steroids. Rocky's natural, even though we know Sylvester was on some juice himself to get that ripped for the movie. In my mind, this he's all natural. He's working really hard. He's got all the distractions away. He's working out in the snow. While this guy's got all the technology. He's training in this sick facility. It just gets me fired up. And then when he climbs the mountain and starts screaming Drago, like you're just fired up. And then obviously the fight at the end, man, you come out of that movie and just like ready to just take on the world.
Run through a wall.
Number 2, I have a deep connection with number 2, which is Braveheart. The reason I have such a deep connection is the character of William Wallace was just like a type of person that you'd want to be. Him losing his wife and then like seeing her go through that whole, where is he? She's like looking out to see where he is and he never shows up. That's it's a gut punch to see what he does and he stands up to tyranny. It just gets me fired up. Number 3, we're going with another war movie. It's Troy. I had a big man crush on Brad Pitt and Troy. It's a star-studded cast.
I'm honestly shocked you picked that because I'm not used to people. I mean, I know people have seen it, but
these things.
It's not one that people talk about a lot. So that's cool that you.
What we were talking about for the podcast, these things. It's all about the emotional connection you make.
I love history. I'm a big history buff. I read the Odyssey. I knew the story. I love Brad Pitt. Like I love a lot of Brad Pitt. I think he's a great actor. I love a lot of Brad Pitt movies. Seven's one of my favorite movies.
What's it about?
I loved him as Achilles. I thought he was great. That was one of like Orlando Bloom's first big movies too. Right. Just seeing that whole thing played out on a grand scale for me was really cool. Number 4 is Inception. First time that I watched Inception, I was probably like so many other people. I need to watch it again.
You figure out what it means at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen it probably 20 times. I still don't get it.
The first couple minutes of that movie, I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like,
no joke, when that movie came out, I remember we went home, me and my buddies went home from watching the movie, and we literally mapped out all the different plot points to try to figure out exactly what it meant at the end. And we still were I think we were still scratching our heads in some sense, like, because everybody had their different opinions.
Yeah, dude, I was like, is he dreaming still, or is this reality? Like, and I think that's the point. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
to make you think.
It's ambiguous.
And the spinning hallway is still one of the greatest things.
Oh, it's a wild stunt.
Because for those that don't know, like, they built a hotel hallway, and instead of like doing a bunch of CGI, they literally spun Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the other guy around in a hallway that was about 30 feet long.
Yeah.
It was literally a big square tube.
Yeah.
That's still one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and Hans Zimmer is he's one of the best. Number 5, I won't get into explanation. Shawshank Redemption is number 5.
There is no explanation.
You don't need to.
It's Shawshank.
Yeah. That almost made my list. It's definitely in my top 5.
So that movie moved me. I watched that one a lot later in my life. Actually, I didn't watch it till college, and I was so mad that I hadn't seen it till I was like 23 years old.
That's one of those movies that's on TNT every weekend.
Yeah, I never saw it. Never saw it, and the first time I saw it, I was like genuinely moved.
All right, Roman, go.
I cheat a little bit. I'll try to go through here fast. My top 5 changes frequently, and that's the difficult part about making these lists. The top 2 never change. Spoiler alert! I've been telegraphing the whole time. My favorite movie of all time is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, I think the 80s was the best time in American cinema. Ferris Bueller, to me, encapsulated everything that the 80s was. Great music, cool cars, just being able to be a kid. Just the way John Hughes handles stuff in such like a carefree manner and like doing all this stuff. Scene with the valets stealing the car and then getting it back. Yeah. I could watch it anytime, anywhere, forwards, backwards, standing on my head, doesn't matter. And 2, for me, is Dead Poets Society. It struck a very big emotional chord with me.
10th grade.
Yeah, you're listening.
Such a funny movie for a 10th grader to like get so
emotional
emotional about. I don't know why, but...
Well, they were about the same age that we were in the movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it was what it was, but it was funny. There were parts of it that were funny. It was obviously really sad at the end. It was a rare dramatic role for Robin Williams, who did those roles so well. And I have loved Josh Charles, who played the character of Knox Overstreet, ever since then. I can't watch that all the time. It's kind of a heavy movie. Can't watch it all the time. Number 3 is Saving Private Ryan. Not much needs to be said about Saving Private Ryan. It's a masterpiece. Great cast, great moments. I won't wax poetic about Saving Private Ryan. Number 4 is the one I changed the last minute. Jaws. You and I talk about Jaws all the time.
I already knew this was going to happen, so.
Not only is it the single most iconic movie poster of all time, it's one of the most iconic character themes. Everybody knows who that is.
Yeah.
It's a classic 1975. Steven Spielberg was still young in his career, and that was really when he showed up. And then that kind of started a run for him. The Indiana Jones, the E.T., that started a run for the greatest director we've known.
Yeah. Still mad at Universal for taking Jaws away.
Such a good ride.
Number 5 for me is Field of Dreams. For me, Field of Dreams, not only, I'm a huge baseball fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wouldn't have guessed.
I just watched the first game yesterday. It was crazy. Never got to play. That's a story for another episode. That movie to me, I kind of don't consider it a sports movie because like sports is the backdrop, but it's not like a plot point. But it was about fathers and sons. It was about getting through hardships you may not have dealt with and dealing with those things. When I'm not feeling my best, when I'm kind of down, that's the movie that lifts my spirits again. So I watch that movie a lot. And that's my top 5, with a special mention to Space Jam. I wore that movie out. I had the CD, I had the cassette tape, I had the poster, bed sheets, the Michael Jordan jersey that I would put on as he put it on in the locker room, like at the same time. So
it's kind of crazy that, I mean, I feel like ours was so different in like genres and like reasons and that kind of thing, but I'd be curious what the audience thinks of what their top 5s are as well. I mean, obviously feel free to comment and tell us what your top 5 are as well. You know, we would love to just hear what people have to say because I mean, everybody has such a different opinions on.
Yeah. In the comments, tell us your top 5. Tell us what you think of our top 5. And I was thinking when you were talking both, I was like, that movie's in my top 10 or top 15. That movie's in my top. So it's different, but it's just like it's how each person connects with.
It's how it resonates.
It's how it resonates.
So as you can tell, we're passionate about movies. We're passionate about TV shows. We love talking about it. That's what you're going to get here. You're going to get 3 dudes that just love to talk about movies and dive deep into why we love them. You should stick around for many more episodes where we're going to dive deep into specific shows, specific movies. We're going to talk about it all. Until then, Cinema Squad signing off.